Hello, welcome to Bars and Bells. My name is Lauren.
And I'm Ian.
And tonight is our Strength and Swings class, semester 4, week 5 of 6. We've been working on the past 4 weeks our snatches. We've progressed our single arm swings to cleans and some presses overhead, worked on the snatch down, then we worked on the snatch on the up, then we put it all together. So it's just going to be a fun time tonight where we continue to work on that endurance with our snatches, and next week will be the culminating, actually it's a week after because we're taking holidays, but that next week, week 6, will be the culminating workout. So stay tuned for that, but right now, let's do some more prep.
With the body weight, let's get to the floor pretty darn quick here, implementing that toe squat or size a sit. So first, get to the ball of the foot, that's that lunge foot as well. Stand tall on that standing leg, and then with the balls of feet, point through the toes. Don't stand on it, I never ask for that, but instead, we probably do ask that you can just articulate over the toes. Then go back to those balls of feet and consider pushing those hips through to help straighten the knee. Then repeat on the other side. So it's a ball of foot, a squeezing butt cheek on your standing leg. We're hugging the midline, avoiding that soft ankle, and then eventually getting towards over, and then to the balls of feet, and then extending those hips, pushing through. We'll repeat that again in a moment, but until then, let's get our first gentle squat here with the feet staying flat. Excuse me, something in my eye. And with those knees going over the toes, also push those hips forward, fully cramping up those glutes. And don't forget about the shield on the front. It's all part of the core as we go down towards the floor one more time, but we'll come up and squeeze. We also like working on those balances of other ways as well. So keep your glutes squeezed, keep the ribs over the hips, check out a nice little toe balance here, and slow down the descent. And as we do this, think gripping the floor and how that applies to your kettlebell swing or snatch as well. We'll get all the way to the floor this time as we go knees over toes, and then gently peel up those heels to get low. Soft knees to the floor, full hips through. We did some climbing on our bikes yesterday, so this next move might be a little bit of a stretch on the quads, but incorporate those full ranges of motion wherever we can, including those full ranges of motion on the hands. So now that we're on the hands, land fingertips, calluses in hands, blood donations forward. At the neck or the head here, gently look forward, meaning extension, and then a chin tuck, looking down. Repeat series of 2 for the head neck here as we go extension or looking forward one more time, and then chin tuck to the neutral place, but that nice chin tuck nonetheless. Then at the hands, wrists, go to the first knuckle push-up, and then slow down. First knuckle push-up means the fingertips and callus lines stay nice and heavy, the elbows nice and straight, and again, aiming to create some arm meat, so when that kettlebell lands softly, it doesn't blast bruises on our forearms here. But do one more, flick the floor away, and then shake out. We'll make fists this time. Check. Before we do the wrist manipulation, let's go ear to shoulder or lateral flexion at the neck. As we move the head in a certain way, move the neck the least amount as necessary. The head moves upon the neck, but the neck doesn't move. Repeating one more time each way, that's an ear to shoulder, through the middle, and an ear to shoulder, return to the middle. Then with one hand, open the fingers so they're flush with the floor, and gently flex over the wrist, keeping the armpit low again. And then push the knuckles in the floor to stack that wrist back to a straight line or that neutral position. Repeat on the other side as the fingertips open, and we flex over the wrist, and then push back into the ground, keeping the elbow straight. It's likely to bend. Repeat the other time, meaning the other side one more time, flexing over, pushing down to create that strength, and final time, gentle wrist flexion over, and then push back. Then push all the way through and shake out those hands. Repeating the original hand shape now on the floor, land fingers, calluses, and hands, and we'll get into the shoulder blades here next. At the shoulder blades, do a squeeze together, retraction, elevate, we'll stay out of that pathway mostly today, and push the floor away, protracting shoulders, and then pull them back down to the hips. Return to a squeeze retraction. We'll switch our direction now. We'll pull down to the hips. We'll push into the floor to wrap the blades around the core or the shoulders, and then shrug up to ears and pull back, and then push the floor away and shake that out. One little rotation from those lunges, Lauren, take it away.
Oh, right. Let's get into that lunge position because you guessed it, there's always get ups. So let's warm that up. In our lunge position, our front leg is vertical shin-ish. Our front leg is lightly pulling in and our back hip is just gently squeezing forward. So right now we have that isometric tension. Our front leg's pulling in, back leg's scissoring forward. Feel that tension for a couple seconds. Now don't change anything and change the vector force. So now push down and forward and down and back. Your back hip still remains extended, your shoulders are still over top of your hips, and you're feeling that underside of the leg help you. Now push so much you could hover off the floor. And then put a little bit more and come back up. And then push a little more and come up. My front shin is still vertical, my back leg is gently straightening, but my back butt cheek is squeezing forward. So I have a lot of work in that front of the hip. Now let's continue pulling together and find that mid station, and pulling together and find that hover, and then soft landing on the floor. We'll heel toe that leg out to the side like we would in our get up. We'll take the same arm as that side leg across our chest. Let's first start at the head. We'll rotate that head just to look at the knee, and then we'll rotate our head back to center. Then we'll rotate our head to look at the knee, and our rib cage will follow. Our head will come back to center. Now to bring your cage back, I want you to think about using your abdomen to rotate your cage, not your shoulder blades. Rotate back. We'll add on. Head looks over. Cage rotates with abdomen. Hip hinge, hand finds floor. Now we'll stack shoulder right over top. Our head will look down at the hand on the floor, and then the cage, not the shoulder blades, will rotate closed. Head will look open at the ceiling, cage will follow. Stay here for a second, breathe, keep that bottom shoulder packed. Push the floor away, head to center, thorax to center. Good. Then we'll heel toe that leg to the front. We'll zip that leg underneath and we'll repeat quickly on the other side, and then we'll get our kettlebell out. With that other leg in front, vertical shin. First, let's isometrically pull the floor together. Back hips extended, hips are level as you can. We're pulling together. Now start that tension pushing forward and back. That tension should add so much you hover your back knee. And then you continue hovering to mid station. And then you fully extend that back leg, but keep your cheeks squeezed. Now pull yourself back down. Use your muscles, don't just allow gravity to pull you down. Soft landing. We'll heel toe that leg open to the side, arm across chest, blades together. Head rotates to knee, head rotates to center. Head rotates to knee, torso rotates to knee. Head to center, body with abs to center. Again, head to knee, body rotates. Hip hinge, hand finds floor, stack over top. Head looks down at hand. Cage rotates, blades stay back. Knee stays to the side. Head opens up, cage opens up. Stay for a second, breathe. Oh yeah. Then push the floor away. Head to center. To center. Heel toe that leg to the front. Let's do a plank and then we'll hinge up and grab a bell. Hands on the floor, underneath your shoulders, toes tucked back into your high plank position. This is the same as the top of your swing. Squeeze your butt cheeks, pull your shoulders out of your ears, grip your hands with the floor, brace your abs, pull your kneecaps up, make your leg muscles all tight. Now re-squeeze your butt, now re-brace your abs, but also breathe underneath for 3, 2, then lifting the hips. Walk yourself back via your hinge, so hips will go back, shins vertical, load up hamstrings, push through to tall. Before we get into our first get up round, let's warm up those single arm swings.
Single arm swings.
So we'll grab a bell that's appropriate for you today, whatever that may be, and we will stand behind it. Let's start with our usual routine, which is 1 hike pass, 2 stop swings, 3 continuous. Here we go. Hip hinge, grip bell, tip it on its side. Pull to zipper, park. Pull, swing, through, stop. Repeat again. Pull, swing, through, stop. Now 3 continuous. Pull, swing 1, 2, 3, park bell. Up without, shake it out. And we'll repeat the same thing on the other side. Hip hinge, grip tip, pull, park. Pull, swing, through, park. Repeat. Abs. And now 3 swings. And park. Whew, stand up, shake it out. I got a little thunderstorm brewing here, so we're gonna pop on that overhead light, give us some more shine. Shake that out, check in with how that bell feels. And now we'll get down to the floor and do our first get up of the day.
Get up time. Nice. So when we do descend to the floor, we try not to use those hands. And if you break that rule, that's okay too. And we'll start with our cuddle, our roll, and ultimately that full stand and the kettlebell get up. So cuddle, roll, and press with 2 hands. Then push through the bent leg and pull yourself on the elbow. Sit tall next. Bridge, press the floor away. And then using those core sounds, bring your abs to the center and stand up nice and tall. Return yourself to the ground with control. And then open and we'll windmill hinge. And then sweep through the tall sit. Find the elbow. Return to your back. 2 hands down. Leave it there. Swivel yourself around and wait for Lauren's cues to do it again.
Oh, all right, same thing on that other side. From the cuddle to the press. Hip drive, I like to pull with that knife edge hand. Then we squish the bug. Pack that bottom shoulder as you bridge and sweep. Floor presses away. Front foot squares up through that lunge. Think about that forces as we pull ourselves back down. Step open, stack shoulders, sweep, elbow, back, 2 hands, pull down. Let's try to stand up, not using your hands, however you'd like. And then we'll progress into, sorry, this just feels good.
Enjoy the squat.
We'll progress into those snatch progressions. Whoops. As let's go team Ian goes first. It'll be a clean, a press up, clean, press up, snatch down. Little flick, elbow stays high, tight to the body, park. Repeat 2 more, clean, press up, snatch down, tight to the body, park. 1 last time. Oh, he didn't park. Continuous one, surprise. Let's go team Lauren, do the same thing.
So let's go that first repetition from the ground to the rack and a clean, a press, and the snatch down, returning to park. Now next 2 repetitions, a clean, a press, get into the hike pass, back into the rack, 1 more press, and snatch down. We like, and a 4th, go for it. We like to add that press to somewhat fatigue the arms, to feel the urgency to use those hips as part of the snatch.
So we have 1 stop version, a clean, to a rack, to a press, keeping it tight, little flick of the wrist, elbow stays tight, park. This time it's a clean again, a press, a snatch through to the hinge, use your hinge back to rack. Good, press the bell, and then control it to the ground. 1 more time on our other side here.
It's not always about the heavy bell, but a heavy bell is likely the one that you're wanting to try to snatch, as it again enforces the hips. So for the 2nd rep, Lauren cleaned and pressed, snatch, hike, pass, back into the rack, up top, and always working on the tight to the body aspect on the down. We'll do 1 more warm up in a moment, but until then, it's get up time, or rather get down time.
No.
Oh.
It's get down up time.
Oh,
so let's
good.
take this bell and let's do what we just did. We'll do a clean, a press, and get up down with it. So from the floor, it's a clean, boom. It's a press, hiya. And then it's a full get up down. Take your time, rotate around that kettlebell, sweep, elbow to your back, pushing away. Now come back up, hip drive, squish bug, bridge sweep, press away, front foot, hippity hop, pull bell down, let's through and park. Through, park. Good.
Hippity hop, pull through, park down. Awesome.
Lots of fancy words here.
Other side, it's a hike pass to the rack or clean. Full press. Now leave it there. Adjust your stance as you need and descend in the lunge. And then open in the windmill. And then sweep to sit tall. Find the elbow and push off the elbow to your back. Then drive through the hip. Tall sit again. Firm hand. Use those hips. Windmill. Square. Tall stand. Let's pull it to the rack with control. And then that nice efficient hike pass. And back to the ground. Well, we've done the one arm swing. And feel free to stay there if that's more your speed. You're doing the clean and the press and the snatch down. Also feel free to repeat that drill. Or Lauren and your team, take it away for one snatch all the way up. Hiya. Let's pull it back down to the ground as a park. Now the next 2 repetitions, go all the way up. Pull it down to rack, hike pass, snatch, pull down, hike pass, and to the back. Now I go, you go, or they go, and then we go. Let's do it.
All right, Team Ian, it's from the floor to overhead. Then vertical forearm tight to the body. Now use your hinge through, park, back overhead. Hip drive that bell overhead. Pull down with control, through, back overhead. Whammo. Nice. And then pull down. I like to think of that I'm doing snatches in an alleyway. So if I keep that bell tight on the way up and the way down, I avoid that big bumpity bump, and I get more power from the bumpity bump.
From the bumps. Ooh, that sounds good. So it's a clean or it's a snatch, but don't do the hybrid. Be strict with it, of course. So a snatch, park, and then all the way up top. Then return it out back to the hike pass, and then all the way up top. We'll be linking those repetitions in our snatches in short order here, series of 1s, 3s, and 5s. But again, if any of those drills seem a little bit on the adventurous side,
don't get walking away there. Team Ian, second side, from the floor, overhead, pull down through park. I like to say it so you don't forget it like I did. All the way overhead, pull down. Now using that hinge, it'll load up and slingshot back overhead. Pull down, through, place it down. Your best snatch is probably the easiest one, where you thought that was light. Did I do it right? You probably did it so right that you should get a gold star.
Gold stars. Solid gold plastic stars all the way across the board. Or at least just a like or a thumbs up or a share on the video. That's almost as good as a plastic star.
Yeah, from you to us.
But until we do that, it's time to just get these snatching sets. I go, you go, or that Team Lauren and Team me for 1 repetition, snatch up and then back, and then we'll go right after. It's up, it's down, it's parked. I go, you go. So you're going with one of us, you're taking a break. We have this perfect work to rest ratio. So now we're on our second side, 1 snatch. Whew. So shake it out in between. Check out the form of your training partner here as they go and say, that looked powerful. Now let's do the same thing. Sometimes you have to tame that power. One more time for Team Ian, and then we're gonna add some reps here. So we're going to the number 3, which means we will not put the bell down for 3 snatches. Here we go. It goes from the ground overhead, the hike pass, snatch overhead. Repeating that for 3, that's 3. Back to the floor, they go, we go. Team Ian for 3 here. Remember when you're snatching, it's the hip drive. It's the plank at the top. It's the light but firm grip. You don't want to let it go, but you don't want to over grip that bell either. Goldilocks. Just right. Find the rep scheme that's just right, as well as that hip drive that satisfies the load of your kettlebell. That's 3 already. Great overhead position. And again, if we can't get the arm overhead as a stretchy or shoulder flexion drills here, take your time and maybe just stick to those 1 arm swings. Team Ian for another round of 3. So whether it's those single arm swings, you're practicing in the same structure. It's those cleans and presses, no problem. Practice that endurance. Time with that kettlebell will improve your strength. We're going up to the number 5. Time under tension. How are those calluses going? We talked about using a pumice, but let's focus on our snatch here. So that's 3 already. Rests come around quick when we start moving here. And for that last repetition, looks just as good as that first one. So let's all maintain that integrity and safety as we stay strong here. All right, Team Ian, set of 5. That 5 will give you a little bit of bump, a little bit of cardio work. Stay loose in between. Take your time. Still match your breath as your hip snaps through. Doesn't have to be a big sound. I want it to be a little less mouth sound and a little more huppity sound. So no more no sound. Yeah, that's right. So I will never do it, at least not intentionally, but to take a punch on those abdominals. A punch on those abdominals, or like you're throwing a punch, or at least imagining it. But we're lovers, not fighters here. Let's be serious.
Yeah. All right, team me, another round of 5. Take your time. We're shaking it out, staying loose in the quads. But if you're with Ian, you're matching that breath. You're driving the hips through. Last one or so. Now, instead of going back to ones, let's keep the number 5, build a little endurance, and do it all again. 5, 3, 1.
Nice. And as we're doing that, I realized I might have done that same arm twice. That's okay. There's a lot to keep track of here. Focus on that one thing. If you end up doing a couple more reps, so be it. But try to make them on your not as strong side, because that's what's harder anyways. So
whatever arm it is, team me in round 5. That's probably not true. It's round 4, but 5 reps. Breathe. Hips go back every time. Don't forget that hinge. And don't forget to keep that core brace even when you're back in that hinge. Here we go, another set of 5.
Nice. So rooting the feet will help the core. Squeezing the glutes, that's part of the core too. The sound of and making sure that we catch that kettlebell by pressing the hand through it, eliminating any kind of pressing action through the shoulder. Repeat on the other side.
Team in last set of 5, biggest set here. Don't worry, if you stay tuned for week 6, we will add some more reps. It's all about building. Last set here, 5 swings, and then we're back to the number 3. And by swings, I mean snatches.
Whew. 3 reps. Upsies, downsies, or this nice little wave here as you go for those set of 3. Finish with integrity as you've said a couple times, and then you get to do it again.
Great. Swing number, oh man, I keep saying it. Snatch number 1 should look just like snatch number 2. Same should the power level be. That was an interesting sentence. Meaning the power from your first set should be the same as your last set. Did I just do 3 or 5?
3. I did 3 on that left side, so I know I have 3 on that other side. Making sure I do that non-dominant side first now to make sure I get those reps in. 3, then come around quick, sweat starting to go. Make sure your hands are safe and not too sweaty.
If you don't know what to do with that off arm, mirror that snatch. Bring it through with you, bring it back with you. Bring it through with you at the top, bring it back with you. Good. Park that bell. Now, we have a single on each side.
Oh, that sounds so strong. 1 strong rep, and then return it down. That's it. We can do that.
1 more time for Team Ian. And then our last snatch here on our second side.
That's it. And get 1 more time. Ready to go.
Now, I said last one, but you know us. Ha 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 ha, last one. We have 1 more thing to do here. As a little preview of what we could do in our 6th week, we are going to do a little combo here. So we'll snatch the bell up overhead. We'll do a full get up to the floor. We'll stand back up with that bell, and then we'll place it down via the snatch pattern. So let's take that kettlebell in front of us. 1 snatched overhead. Here we go. Overhead. Then it's our step back lunge, our controlled descent down to the floor. From the elbow, pushing away to your back. And then here we go, back up 1 last time on this side. Bridging, sweeping, pressing through. And then once we stand up, let's unsnatch it. So through and park. I don't know what, is it snatch up and
Snatch
down?
Down.
Snatch down. Unsnatch. All right, second side. From the floor, 2 overhead. If you forget which leg, the leg you can touch goes back. Opening, hinging, sweeping, elbow, press to back. 1 more time, we're up through the hip drive. Pressing the floor away. Bridge sweeping, extended hips, front foot moves. Up, we'll pull the bell down with, we'll
Unsnatch yourself.
Good. I was distracted.
It's okay. There was a little bit of construction sounds going on here. Those weren't our bodies making those sounds. And if your bodies was making that kind of a sound, maybe you should join us at a bar practice instead to work on the stretch and strength. But This has been, as Lauren said, week 5 of 6, but the 6th week is actually 2 weeks from today. But we have lots to come until then, like what?
Well, if next week, what am I going to do without my favorite bars and bells follow along YouTube session? You could go back to one of the, I wish I could have said that all with a straight face. You could go back to one of the previous semesters, or even in this class, and repeat next week. Practice that snatch. Don't do too many reps. We're building for week 6. We know our holiday came in at a wrong time, but what can you do? It's life. Or you could join us on Thursday at the bar where we work on our hip mobility, and we've been pumping out the push-ups. And Saturday will also be a pre-record, but it'll be there Saturday morning at 8 a.m. for a body weight practice. So join us in one of those 3. But also in the meantime, like and subscribe on YouTube. Watch.
On repeat.
On repeat. Follow along if you can, but more just watch. And like and subscribe on Patreon. Thanks for joining, and until next time, take care.
Stay strong.
And we'll train soon.
Have a good day.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.